The pond is dug and we've got a big dozer pile over here. The pond guys finished yesterday, and they also did a little bit of work over here around it to make sure that we could make it as nice as possible around there. There you see the dozer or the track hoe in the background. This is a big dozer pile. We've got to do something with it. We're probably going to burn it because there is a lot of good to ash and stuff like that in the ground, and we do need to get rid of it. Otherwise it's going to sit here for a decade. There's still some dozer piles on this property from when Papa's daddy had the entrance dug over here. So Papa's always jabbering on about the dozer piles over there that were there from his daddy having a dozer hired over here. If I don't get rid of this, my kids are gonna jabber about the dozer pile from their daddy. So we're gonna get rid of it. But the first step to get rid of it, there's still a lot of green, good green leaves in here, and we've got some billy goats we need to separate from the nannies. So we are putting an electric fence around it temporarily. This is probably only going to be for the next month or so. They're probably not going to stay in here the whole month, but we'll have them have this fence up for the next month, and we'll take it down again. Sometimes that's the way it's done. I don't like this this kind of wire for temporary fencing. It's not very fast. It doesn't move very easily. It takes a lot more time to wind it up and so on and so forth than the poly wire that I use for the pigs. But this is what we have, and this is what Papa used. He's used the poly wire before, didn't like it. I think the life on the poly wire isn't quite as good. It is really great for temporary moving it around. But we're over here, we're going to get this up. It's really pretty simple. All it is we're gonna put some insulators to some of these trees. We're gonna tie it to each other and ratchet it down tight, and then put a couple of posts in between to make sure it stays where it needs to, down on about the level it needs to. And we've got a gate over here we're gonna put up. So pretty much just gonna go from tree to tree. I'll show you. You can see the wire moving a little bit. It's going from this tree right over here to this tree over here where Papa is next to. We're just gonna put insulators from one to the other. It's gonna be a straight shot from tree to tree to tree. And we're gonna be getting rid of this dozer pile that you see. I'll probably show you a few different angles as we go from tree to tree to tree.
This is my round plastic toolbox that I put all my crap in, that my tools and my material to work with and whatnot. This is my seat that I manufactured out of scrap lumber. It's got a 2x4 that sets down in my toolbox, and then it's got a lip on both sides so I don't fall in it. And then I can sit on it because I'm inherently lazy. But it's only going to be here for probably 2 months at the very most, and maybe not even that long, so it won't grow up in it. I normally try to avoid big trees like this because I don't want the wire growing in it, but I know for a fact this is not going to be here very long. Rua will have a conniption fit. I don't think she even wants it here in the first place, the way she's been acting. What I'm doing now is attaching the top wire. We're going to put 2 strands up. I'm attaching it to this tree so that I can ratchet it tight down there with one of the little fence ratchets.
We'll show you what those look like in a minute.
We've got the wire around the tree, the insulator on the wire, and the wire tied to the insulator. When we get this strand run, we'll tie another wire in it and go that way to that tree over yonder, and this will be a coner, kind of a sharp coner at that. Okay.
That's coner. That's Papa speak for corner.
Coner, yeah, coner. That's like, it's gonna be a coner, like a cone head. If it's 90 degrees, it's a corner, but it's a coner. It's more like a cone. I'm pretty much in frame. I can see my ugly self. This is our ratchet. I don't know if you can see it or not. My wife, Nana, fusses at me all the time for building things and not putting a gate in it. I'm trying to get the old wire off of it. It'll have enough wire on it without extra wire. When you reuse things, you have to clean them up. And see how handy that bucket is for a toolbox? I can just reach around and put stuff in it without even having to do nothing. The ratchet has got a wheel with teeth on it, and there's a hole in the center of it that you run your wire through, and then you pull it tight, and you always got too much, but that's just part of life, I guess. Better to have too much than not enough. Okay, now I need my handle. And as it happens, I'm sitting on it. It's in my round plastic toolbox. This is the ratchet handle, and it's been modified with a tape so that you can ratchet it on hot fence if it gets loose. but it's not as good as you think, because I've been shocked by it many times. That's pretty tight. It'll have to have a couple of posts put in there to pull it down. Now, since we're here, we'll put one at the bottom and ratchet the other direction. We don't want to have kids in the dead of the winter. We want to have them when it's kind of warm. If they get bred now, they'll birth about the end of December. We're going to resplice this. This loop, only electrical contact you've got is right there in that loop, and you want more electrical contact. What I call this is a modified Western Union splice. Back years ago, Western Union run telegraphs, and they had this special way that they spliced their wire. And what they did, they'd take them and they'd loop them together. Can you see? Like this. And then they'd twist one wire clockwise and one counterclockwise till they run out of wire. I think they had to have 10 turns, if I remember right. If you're interested, you can Google it. But what I do is start out twisting it that way, and then I turn one of them back and twist it a little bit, and then I turn the other one back and twist it, so you've got more electrical contact.
I can't see what you're doing.
I'm watching what I'm doing so I don't stick a wire in my finger or my eye or my belly or something else.
I told him to tell you about this because I knew whenever I spliced this, that it wasn't going to be good enough for him. And I knew he was going to mention the Western Union splice too, because he always does. Here's what what it looks like with the wire in there, and it's all tangled up in there. I was going to take it out, but I think I'm going to let Papa do it.
The way I take it out is I pull this up to release the ratchet and get a hold of it with my pliers and just unfurl it. And then I untwist it. Here's the wire that came out of it. It was all crooked and kinked. And here's the ratchet without the wire. See the hole? The wire will go right in that hole, and he's gonna loop it around, and then he's gonna start ratcheting it. All right, so I'm gonna stop filming for a few minutes. We're gonna do the exact same thing we did between these two trees, between a few other trees. We're also gonna put some posts, some white plastic posts in between these, to help keep it where it needs to be. We might put a T-post in here too. I don't know for sure, but we'll show you at the end. We got a little bit more to do, but this is the same thing between these two trees we're gonna do between a few other trees. Papa is putting the last insulators on and doing the last little bit. I am gonna go ahead and drive a few T-posts. I've got 3 T-posts here. We're mainly gonna use some plastic posts that's just gonna keep the fence where it needs to be, the right height. Right here is the level of the top wire that's going on the northeast line. It's about at my shoulder when I'm standing up high. So about right here, maybe just a little bit further, I'm gonna drive 1 T-post. I'm gonna drive one on the other side. I brought 3 with me. I might drive one somewhere else. And I've got some plastic posts. When you go get the plastic post driver, we may tell you about that in a minute too. I've driven a couple of the steel T-posts, and we're gonna drive some of these plastic posts now. And these plastic posts is a whole thing that Papa has done, and he's told me about it a few times. Let him tell you about it. Take a piece of 1/2-inch Schedule 40 PVC. It comes in 20-foot sections. Cut them up into 5-foot lengths. I've got this homemade plastic post driver. It's a piece of 1/2-inch all thread. You take the post and put it on the all thread to give it some strength so you can drive it, and slide it up here. And there's a nut to keep it from going down too far. There's a nut right here. Actually, there's 2 nuts with a washer between them. And this is a piece of drill steel. It was thrown away. This all thread was too. I actually bought the nuts, but they was like 8 or 10 cents a piece. They wasn't very expensive. And you take this and set it where you want it. He's gonna set it halfway between this tree up here and the T-post. And then you take it and slide this up and down. And drive it in the ground as far as you want it. And then you pull the all thread out of it, and all it leaves you is the plastic post. It's PVC, so it's insulated. We drilled holes through the post. This one's been reused. There's one in it somewhere, but I don't see it. Got a little cordless drill and drill a hole through it, run a piece of wire through it, and pull your fence down to it and tie it. They last a long time. And we'll end up putting those all through here, and that does 2 things really. It keeps it where you want it at the right level, and then it also kind of shows you pretty well, because this naked wire like this, you can't really see it very well sometimes, so you see the line and you won't run into it accidentally.
We also use these to mark some of our trees. I've got a bunch of chestnut trees up here. I don't know if you can see them in the background, can you? You can see them along the road. There's some chestnut trees that I've got marked. So we just got a few more posts to put up and then jump it from the other electric. It's coming down the road over here. I talked to you about that the other day. It's coming down the road over here, and we got to jump it to this fence and then put the cattle panel gate in. We were gonna use a regular gate, but we're just gonna use a cattle panel. We're gonna actually finish that tomorrow morning because it's on into the afternoon now, and I wanna spend a little bit of time with Rua and the kids tonight. Papa has a few more things to do as well. It took us a few hours to do it. My opinion is that it's a little bit faster to do it with the poly wire and with you know, the way that I do with the pigs. I really think that takes a little bit less time than with this kind of wire. But this is what Papa wanted to do, and all of this is with leftovers. That poly wire, I don't think I had enough to do all of this. It's more expensive to do it the way that I like to do it. It's very temporary fencing. It just you know, you put it up and you can take it down and put it up and take it down. I feel like it's much faster than this. I really didn't want to go buy more poly wire, and this is all stuff that we had on hand, and we're trying to get the goats in here as soon as possible. Tomorrow morning, we're gonna finish this, and we're gonna put the goats in here, and then be done. There's a lot of green stuff back here that they'll probably be able to eat on for, you know, for a couple of weeks, and then we can move them somewhere else. Start trying to get this burned and done away with. We do stuff like this all the time, and we've got all sorts of other things going on as well. But if you like things like this, then like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, select all, so you never miss a notification. Thanks.